Hi, my name is Kimberly DiBiase, and I'm the Advisory Council Chair for Central Florida. When I was 17, my brother went to jail for the first time. It was a time in my life where all my friends were making college plans and having summer plans as well, while my family prepared for a criminal case. I had no one to talk to. I couldn't talk to my mom, so I didn't want to be sad in front of her. And I couldn't talk to my dad, because he was a single dad going through it on his own. I can't imagine how my dad felt during this period of time. He was a police officer in the community in which the crime happened. And he had to go to work every day with coworkers who knew every detail of his son's crime. I grew up going to church, Sunday school, that ended after I was about 8th grade, and I got away from God. We didn't have God in our home. We didn't grow up with Jesus. We went to church. We went to Sunday school, and that's where it ended. When I had my kids, I decided that I wanted to give them something that I didn't have, and that was hope in God. Something that they could trust and take to the bank. We went to several churches, felt great going, thought that I was doing the right thing, and I was on my walk and on my way. But I never fit in. I never felt comfortable in a room full of these people. I never felt comfortable in their Bible studies. About 10 years ago, I was invited to my first Kairos weekend. And I thought, these women called, they were all excited about it. Yeah, let's go. The white van is going to pull up and throw a bag over your head and whisk you away to the Kairos outside weekend. And I thought more about it, and I decided, you know what, I'd spend my entire life contemplating my brother's crime and its effect on my family and my life. And that I didn't want to spend another weekend in a room full of people I didn't know, sharing my story and talking about it. So I didn't go. Next Kairos Outside weekend came, and my girlfriend, who was on the leadership team, said, "You've got to go. This is going to change your life." Yeah. I'll go. For you, I'll go. For you. Well, when I walked into that room, I was standing next to not just one, but a room full of women that had walked in my shoes, knew the shame, and the pain, and the guilt that I carried around on a daily basis. It changed my life. It was on this day that I took my first step on my walk with Jesus, because of Kairos Outside. I went on to volunteer. At the time, I was living in Fort Myers, Florida, which is Southwest Florida, and we moved up to Orlando. And I was commuting 3 hours each way to go back to the team meetings. I had a great experience being on the team. I got even more out of it than I did as I was a guest. But I decided that it was too far of a journey for me to go, too long of a drive, and it took too much time away from the family. So I said, hey, here's a concept. Call your local area and find Kairos Outside by you, which I did. I was saddened to find out that Kairos Outside of Central Florida was not operating at that time. So I decided, well, okay, new area, let's start looking at some churches. So we'd go and visit churches. And I'd walk into church after church after church and just not feel like I was home. I was not feeling the Spirit, and I just was lost. So I gave up. 5 years, my life took on such chaos and pain. It brought me to a very deep depression. I was in a lot of pain. And I knew that the only answer for me was through God, but I didn't know how to get there because I had given up on trying to find a decent church that I liked. So I said, you know what? I'm going to call Kairos Outside one more time. And I did. And I was surprised to get a phone call from a lovely lady, Miss Judy. who said, hey, we're doing a restart. Would you like to be a part of that? And I did, and I am. And I have to tell you that since then, I've been a leader. I've been on team. I've been a leader. I've been the donor coordinator, and I sit as ad chair now. The men and women in Kairos Outside have become my mentors, my friends, my family. You are my church. You know, I always say that the guys and girls that go to jail, there's services for them. If there's a victim involved, there's services for them, as well as there should be. And then there are the women that are impacted by the incarceration. The moms, the daughters, the sisters, grandmothers, wives, and all of us. Not only do they have to deal with their emotional pain, their baggage, their guilt, their shame, but they have to push that aside and be emotionally available for their person on the inside and be their strength and be their everything while trying to take care of the family and doing it all on their own. I was talking to a prospective customer, guest, telling her my testimony and sharing with her about Kairos Outside. And she was very soft-spoken on the phone, speaking to me in whispers. And I said, oh, I'm sorry, are you at work? She said, no, my family does not know that I speak to my son. Let that sink in for a minute. This woman is whispering on the phone about her son who's in jail and her family doesn't know she has a relationship with him. That's guilt, that's shame. I had another woman at a closing share that her son had done an inside program and had been trying to get her to come to Kairos Outside for many years. And she said, nope, not having it, don't want to go, don't want to be a part of that. And finally he said to her, Mom, you haven't been able to give me a birthday gift in 20 years. This is all I want, is for you to do this. So she said she would go. She's sharing this testimony on her knees with her hands held high as she came back to Jesus, sharing with us that she hadn't been to church in 20 years since he got incarcerated. These are the reasons that I do this. To see the transformation coming in on a Friday of these women that are scared and watching them leave arm in arm, praising God. When I go on these weekends, I have this thing I always say about my brother, talking about the layers, the onion layers of shame and guilt. And there's been times when I would literally sit there scratching at my arm, contemplating the blood that flows through my veins is the same blood that flows through my brother's veins, knowing what he did. See, I love my brother. He was my best friend. He took care of me. He was my protector. Him and his crime just don't go together. They still don't. They probably never will. They're two separate things. When I go on these weekends, I always try to share, whether it's through a talk or at the forgiveness ceremony, that my brother's a sex offender. There is always that one woman, 2, 3 women that stop me when I'm by myself and thank me for sharing that. I know there's layers of guilt and shame with all the crimes, and I understand that. But with the sex offender, it's a little different. I keep doing Kairos Outside because it is my food, it is my life, it feeds my life. I couldn't stand here in front of a room full of non-Kairos people and share my story with them. I don't feel judged in front of y'all. So thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here and humbled to be here. And I just have one question. Who's the church?